In today's video, we're going to be diving into our official summer forecast for the summer of 2025. Typically, I make these before June 1st. I fell a little bit behind this year, but still, we have most of the summer way ahead of us. So, we're going to be discussing the June, July, August timeframe as far as temperatures, precipitation, and our very exciting overall forecast at the end. Be sure to check out our vlog channel on the top right corner of the screen, description and pinned comment down below, because we are on a cruise right now. I made this a couple of days before you're seeing it, and there is going to be an awesome vlog from that with me, my fiance, her family, and just kind of going on a cruise. It's going to be super fun, so be sure to check that out today. With all that being said, it's funny I'm making this video and you're seeing it, and I'm on a cruise, still videos coming out. I like to do it that way. Super awesome. And we have warmer than normal conditions expected throughout the West is overall what I'm expecting at this point. We've seen a lot of this throughout late May into June anyway. I do expect this to be the predominant factor moving into the rest of the summer, the fall, even the winter. I expect this to just continue. Our number one analog year is 2014 to 2015. And that year featured a lot of this warmth out west, which drove everything else further to the east. We even saw this last fall and winter, so we've been in this pattern for a while now. Typically, this type of thing lasts a year or two, maybe even 3 at a time. So we're in year 2 of this at this point. I do expect that a lot of the south central into the southeast will still be above normal as well, and even up the eastern seaboard. I know it doesn't seem that way right now as we've been much cooler, but I do expect at a certain point we will kind of turn things around and start to see warmer air being pushed up the east coast. We've already seen that at times. I expect that to overall be the predominant pattern as we move through the summertime. We do have an area where we are more confident in this above normal temperatures, and you probably can tell by the way I was just talking about everything that is going to be for the West, this positive PNA area. Positive PNA just means warmer than normal ridge in the West, and we are seeing that here. Now, there is a giant gap over the northern plains, upper Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and we can tell that there's going to be something there. So let's just reveal it at this point. And we're only going with the first shade here. I'm not the most confident in the world that we will for sure see cooler than normal conditions prevail in the northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley area, but I am leaning that way slightly. So that is why we have the lightest shade there. You might also take note, I think I've scheduled a lot of videos here. I just recorded the fall time one. I think that one is coming out before this one. So it should have been the fall forecast hurricane season, then this one coming out third. It looks very similar. You might take note of that. And a lot of people might look at that as like lazy, or I'm just feeling like everything's going to be the same way. But it's actually a good thing. And it should bode confidence, because you don't see a massive flip typically in patterns happen suddenly between summer and fall. You want it to look kind of similar to keep up with what is more likely to happen. We see these, again, predominant patterns that last years at a time and different factors. These months that are very close together typically should look similar. So that is kind of the premise here, is that this summer pattern is going to evolve into what is a pretty similar fall pattern right after the summer. And the winter probably won't look completely different either. Let's go ahead and talk about the precipitation, though, which again is going to look semi-similar. There is some more differences on this one, actually, but we see the West is drier. I talked about this in the fall one, but when we have that positive PNA, it's not just warmer than normal conditions, it's also that higher pressure, and the higher pressure does deflect a lot of storms and precipitation overall. I know that the West doesn't see a ton of precipitation during the summer either way. I just expect it to be a little bit below what is even average, so pretty quiet out there. And actually, we have a second shade of this as well for that immediate West Coast, because if we do have a pretty dominant positive PNA, it is going to be pretty dominantly dry in these areas, is what you can anticipate. Let's go ahead and move into that second area of below normal precipitation. It's going to be for the Gulf Coast, also the southeast coast there, and it's only the first shade. This area has been drier for a little bit now. The models continue to show some drier conditions, maybe trickling into July, August timeframe. So I think there's a pretty decent shot that we see below normal precipitation basically set up over these areas. Once we're looking back at the full 90-day period of the summer, it should look something similar to this. The only caveat is that if at some point during July, or more likely it would be August, we see any sort of tropical activity hit anywhere in here, which I would be completely impossible for me to predict at this point in early June, that would disrupt this entire forecast and flip it probably in the opposite direction. So if that was Louisiana or Florida or South Carolina, any of those areas, it would completely throw a wrench in this entire forecast. But again, no way to know that this far out. So we just have to go with assuming nothing hits. Looking towards the above average precipitation, it is going to be kind of from the central northern plains eastward through a lot of the Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast areas. And that is what happened in our analog years. That is what the models are suggesting. And with some troughs moving into this area, typically you're seeing lower pressure and more storminess move through. So there's just a lot of things leading me to believe that that is going to likely be the case. So much so that I even have a second shade of this below average or above average precipitation for these Midwest areas, Great Lakes, some of the Ohio Valley and the Northeast there. We've already kind of seen a pattern like this set up at times here again throughout late May into June. I just expect this to continue throughout a lot of the summer. Now, finally, we're going to get into that again, very exciting, very colorful overall forecast here and kind of go region by region where we've consolidated all of it for you guys to make it simple. Hot and dry out west, positive PNA pattern. We've discussed that all video long. I think stormy early in the Rockies here for some of the rest of the month of June is likely, even though they are in the below average precipitation category for the entire summer. I do think we will see some lows moving through, and we have been seeing that, and we're actually seeing that over the next couple of days from when I'm recording this. So that is definitely going to be the case for a little while. I just expect that to kind of dry up as we move forward. I think we're going to see a milder summer for the south central states and into some of the deeper south. And what I mean by that is not crazy hot. No, it's not just going to be like the hottest summer ever. I think that we're going to be a lot closer to normal, maybe a little bit above normal temperatures in there, but I don't think it's going to be the wildest hot summer in the world that you guys have ever experienced down there. And I also think that the precipitation is going to be fairly close to normal for many of these areas. Cooler at times for that area that we are predicting below normal temperatures. Again, northern plains, kind of upper Midwest into the Great Lakes area. Cooler at times. Cooler in the summer is pretty relative. That's like 75, maybe 80. Something in the 70s or very, very low 80s for these areas would be mostly cooler. Hot and stormy along this eastern area. Again, I do expect eventually for us to see something of a Gulf flow up the East Coast to present itself with this colder air moving in, the warmer air moving up. That should create a lot of instability and probably more thunderstorms than what's typical, and also some hotter days, overall warmer conditions. Average tropics, as we've kind of gone over within our hurricane forecast, I talked about it in the fall forecast. I think that there is a more so chance of some homegrown systems that could impact these areas. But as far as the actual number of tropical systems, hurricanes, major hurricanes, I do expect that to fall somewhere very close to average. So average tropics, maybe a little bit more of an elevated chance of impact for these areas because everything is originating so close to home. But it's really tough to say whether we will or will not see direct impacts from that, like I said, at this point. With all that being said, we upload every single day. Be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.